what is inside this ice maker from the broken down General Electric refrigerator. At least I'll get some use out of this piece of junk. As you can see, there's a little water trough on here. It lets the water into the ice maker. Obviously, the computer, when it did work, would let a set amount of water into the ice tray and wait for it to freeze. And then at some point when it knows the ice has frozen in the ice tray, heat it up a little bit, and then rotate this bar here to eject the ice cubes from the tray. And when the unit is full of ice, it would send this flapper out to see if there's any ice tray. If it senses any resistance, it would know the ice tray is full and stop producing ice until it empties out. Well, let's see what's inside. Don't try this at home. It's very dangerous taking things apart unless you know how and know exactly what you're doing. Like that. You might want to save the screws in a little junk pile. You might be able to use them again. You never know when you might need them, so the parts you get out of taking something apart could be used again in the future. Ah, there's some good micro switches here too. Obviously, when the thing reaches its limit, the switches would turn on and off depending on the cycle of the ice maker as the flapper rotates to eject the ice cubes. So when the ice cubes come out, it rotates like this, and since there's nowhere else for the ice cubes to go, they fall into the ice hopper below. Let's continue taking it apart. If you're familiar with micro switches, you'll see on eBay people are trying to sell these for about, what, $3-5 a piece. So getting 3 of them for nothing, for something you'd throw out into the garbage anyway, is a good find, and these micro switches will be saved. They even have the screws for mounting them for special maker items, or if you want to use them again for something else. Those seagulls are sure going crazy at the seashore. Now, if you want to save the electric motor, try to use the leads as long as possible. And this little synchronous motor runs on 115 volts, so it's good that it's house current if you want to use it for another maker upcycling item, for something that rotates, and even has a good shaft for turning another gear or mounting another item on here for a maker item. Let's take a closer look at these micro switches. They have these slide-on terminals, so it's easy to take the terminals off to reuse the switches. Most micro switches are normally open, normally closed, or normally getting power or not getting power, depending on which terminals you use. And these are Honeywell switches, which are surprisingly good quality for use in this application, considering how cheap the refrigerator was and how quickly the refrigerator broke down. You think they would have used cheaper switches in the ice maker too, but it's more than likely a contracted component part that they bought separately that was used in the manufacturer. And the switches are clearly marked, normally open and normally closed, so these are very useful standard size micro switches that could be used for other items. Obviously these are the terminals for the heater to melt the ice slightly to release the ice cubes from the ice tray. So this would get a little hot. I'm not sure how hot because you don't want to touch it when it's making the ice. And it looks like there's a little thermostat in here to monitor the temperature to control the heating element so it doesn't overheat and go turn the ice cubes back into a puddle of water, rendering the ice cubes useless. You'd never think an ice maker would be such a complicated piece of machinery, but obviously it is, which is probably why it's replaceable. So if one part breaks down, you can just plug in a new ice maker and be back in making ice cubes again. I have a nice little thermostat here. Let's see what the temperature range is. It has the thermo gel on here, so it doesn't clearly say what it is, but it had to be tested to see what temperature range it opens and closes at for the ice maker thermostat. Not much left of this, folks. It's all taken apart. Into the recycling bin it goes. Obviously this little flap on the back keeps the ice cubes from falling in the back of the ice maker, so they fall into the ice tray and not off to the back. And this part is actually the heating element. You can see the crescent shaped for the ice cubes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ice cubes at a time. Depending on how many ice cubes this makes in an hour, or how much ice is consumed from the refrigerator, this could be making a lot, but for a residential home, it's probably sufficient. If we're in a commercial bar or restaurant, this capacity would certainly not be enough to feed a restaurant full of hungry guests, or I should say thirsty guests, unlike they like eating ice cubes. You can see where the thermostat was touching here, making contact to monitor the heat from the heating element as to heat up the ice cubes to release them, and spin this thing through to release the ice cubes. This could now be used as a strange what's-it in a upcycling or maker item, along with some of the other pieces that could be used in artwork or for other purposes. So the best thing that probably came out of this was the micro switches, synchronous motor, thermostat. So there's 3 micro switches, a synchronous motor, and a thermostat. So it's probably about maybe $10 for the synchronous motor, $5, $10, $15 for the switches if you were to pay shipping, and a couple dollars for the heating element. Come again and for another Taking Things Apart video. Goodbye for now. Don't forget to like and subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments.